Hello? Hello? I'm just returning your call. I'm sorry it's so late, but I only just got up. I didn't get to bed. I certainly didn't get to sleep till I don't know what time last night. About 6:30 this morning, I think. Well, birds were singing. What with everything going on and thoughts running through my head about what went on today. Anyway, first and foremost, I want to thank you very much for putting yourself out, for the trouble you went to, especially for that nice soaking we got going over to Castleford. Utter waste of time in a downpour. I want to thank you before my head becomes a shed again and I can't think what I want to say. I've got this notepad you give me, and I think I've took it down and tried to write down my thoughts and feelings in it about half a dozen times. And I can't think of words to say, and the truth is my spelling's not so good and handwriting's not very clear, so it's difficult for someone to know what it is I've written when I've written it. And I get a mental block when I think about it. And I start to think about what's happened and what's going to happen, and all trailing about and phoning people up and waiting and waiting and waiting and getting through and then not being in or not getting back to you till things are too late. It's an absolute living nightmare.
People call me Ted because I'm still into the rock and roll scene and that. You might have seen me a few years ago all suited and booted with my mates uptown. Not for a long time. I don't get out at all now. I just can't face it. Well, since I lost my quiff, I don't even feel like a proper Ted. I used to be a welder. I've turned my hands to all sorts of jobs, but welding mostly. But you can't hold a proper job down when you're like I am. It's not like I choose to be like this. But the way this system treats you. If your head wasn't a shed when you started out, it would be by the time this lot had finished with you. Jeez. These people. They send you that much paperwork. My house is full of it. You don't know which way up you are. To use an old-fashioned phrase, you don't know if you want a shit, a shave or an haircut. That's where I am now. It's like a full-time job trying to look after me. See why people have drifted away from me over the years and I find myself on my own. Well, there used to be a place down Springs where they'd help you with paperwork till council shut it in their infinite wisdom. Now you have to get to Citizens Advice Bureau and, well, you don't know who you're going to get. Some of them are alright. Some of them don't seem to know what they're about. Certainly don't know what I need. It's ridiculous. Someone who hasn't committed Harry-carry. Sometimes my head feels like it's going to explode from inside out. I mean, you've asked me to write down how it makes me feel. Well, I'm not a writer. You see, I've worked on cars and stuff, and it's like when a brake's sticking and jarring and juddering, or a bloke takes his dog to vet. Vet wants dog on table, but dog sets itself, it's not going to move. Or a bloke who's terrified at dentist, he's clinging onto the door frame. That's where I am. It's really difficult to keep myself sharp, to keep me head above water, to stop these people from beating me, to not give in. I keep turning over in my head what it were like going to Castleford, how they treated us. All that worry. Are they going to leave me alone now? Move on to some other poor bastard? The whole thing is engineered to cause as much mental and physical suffering as possible.
Ted, 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 keep knocking at the door, knocking at the door. Ted, 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 keep knocking at the door now, Ted. When Ted's head like a shed, he's shaking all over, trying to work it all out. But when Ted's head's like a shed, he's knocking at the door, trying to find his way out. Ted, 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 keep knocking at that door, knocking at the door. Ted, 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 keep knocking at the door now, Ted. Teddy knows right from wrong, and they're treating him bad, and he's got to be strong. It's a maze, he's got to get through it. He sees the end, he's gonna pursue it now. Ted, 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 keep knocking at the door, knocking at that door. Ted, 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 keep knocking at the door now, Ted. Keep knocking at the door, knocking at that door, knocking at that door now, Ted.
People have to realise, as soon as you've submitted your form, you're at war with the system.
As soon as they receive that application form, they're scanning you for weaknesses. Kids, disabilities, mental illness, length of unemployment.
They immediately begin making notes on you, such as the claimant was nervous during the appointment. If you're nervous, anxious and shy, they're betting you're not even going to bother trying to appeal.
This government has made the weakest, both mentally and physically, people in our society the enemy. But how can they fight back? How are they supposed to fight back?
You can be made to jump through any hoop at any moment.
Some politicians believe they've got a mandate from the voters to screw down the unworthy poor, seen as fakers and scroungers.
The media have been working hard for years, presenting stories of fraudulent benefit claims and exaggerating the lifestyles of those on the benefit system.
Horrific. 15,000 people have died waiting for the benefits. Some have even been starved to death by this government, and one day the people responsible will be made to pay.
Appalling errors occur, but they're just seen as collateral damage in the justifiable war against the unworthy poor.
This government would have a cull of the jobless and homeless and disabled if they thought they could get away with it.
The prime goal of the agents that work for the benefit agency is to stop your money. That's their little star bonus.
The fact that they've got this power over a few poor bastards who haven't got a pot to piss in, well, gives them a power trip.
They're only doing as they're told. But what kind of person enjoys giving out this level of stress?
Why is no one ever sacked?
A humane society would make sure that those people who are unable to financially support themselves are financially supported.
This government is actually spending more money assessing whether or not people are fit for work than it is saving in reductions to the benefits bill. 1.6 billion has been spent on faulty assessments.
That's caring conservatism for you.
My husband had a haulage company. He drove all over Europe. He loved that job. He only had 3 trucks, so it weren't a big company, but he always worked hard and made sure we had plenty of money to live on. He enjoyed the driving, and we enjoyed running the company together. When the kids left home, we had enough money to buy me a florist shop to keep me busy while they were away.
I got to see you across all over Europe. across Germany, Poland, Italy, France, all over. It was amazing. I loved it. I enjoyed the driving, and I had a small team of good lads and lasses working for me.
When he had his breakdown, it completely changed our lives. He couldn't work, he wouldn't drive, wouldn't work. I had to get the doctor to do a house call. I was worried he were going to do something daft. Not daft, you know what I mean, but desperate. He's not spoken for days. He's changed so much you wouldn't believe. He won't drive, won't talk about work. He hardly eats, hardly speaks, and he'd stop in bed if I'd let him.
I'm afraid he's very depressed. He shouldn't work. I'm prescribing him some antidepressants, but don't expect any change for a few weeks. They take a bit of time to work. I'll make a referral to a psychiatrist, but I do have to warn you, it will be some time before you see someone. In the meantime, you need to look after yourself as well. Let me know if you need anything. In my opinion, he has clinical depression. He shouldn't drive.
It was a nightmare trying to get help. It took months. And claiming benefits was just horrible. They refused him the first time. And getting him to appeal was really difficult. I told him, you've paid enough in. Right, come on love, let's have a look at this form. I'll help you fill it in. I think we got to about halfway, page 15. No, here we are, page 17. Can you cope with social situations without feeling too anxious or scared? Tick the box no, yes, or it varies. I guess I'll put no, seeing as you've not been out of the house for 3 weeks. Next, why do you find it distressing to meet other people? Goodness, if we knew that, we'd have known it for those psychiatrist appointments, would we?
I've gone through all this before with my doctor. I shouldn't have to be put through this again.
You're right, love, but if we don't fill it in properly, you know what they're like, you'll not get what you do. So what's next? What makes it difficult to manage social situations? Explain your problems and give examples. What shall we put?
They've got the information already. 25 pages of information they've already got. It's so hard to talk about this. It's so painful. Why do I have to share it with these people? Isn't this private medical information? Everyone else has got the right to confidentiality.
Please, love, let's just have a look at it now. The quicker we do it, the quicker it's done. Please. Come on, love, don't do that. Don't shut down on me again. Please, love, come on. Let's have a look at it now. The quicker we do it, the quicker it's done. Please. Please, love, come on. Don't do that. Don't shut down on me again. We're past that, aren't we?
We've done it, haven't we? We've done it. Why do I have to do it again with... It's rubbish. My doctor says I'm ill. Why can't they believe his word? My psychiatrist. Why don't they believe his opinion? He's a specialist. How many years training have they got?
That's not the point though, is it, love? We know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to give up. Don't give up again, Tony, please. It's not a lot of money, but it makes the difference in being just ahead at the end of the month and just behind.
Oh, I'm going to bed.
Don't, Tony. Don't let them drive you to bed again. Don't let them make you badly. Come on. We can do it. I'll do it with you.
I'm going to bed. Please let me go to bed. I'm tired. I'm just too tired to go through it all again.
Don't say that. Do not say that. What did you say? You said you'd never give up, and you're giving in. And that's what they want.
I'm just too tired to do it. They have all this. my last form, my doctor, my psychiatrist, everyone. I can't go through all this again with these people. Why are you asking me to do this again? I thought you loved me.
Tony, I do love you. I do, and that's why I'm doing it. Don't let them beat you. We can do it together, come on.
Leave it. Let them have it. They've won.
I was appalled by how my husband was being treated, and I was down, I don't mind telling you. But no matter how bad the system gets, there's always some good folk out there wanting to help. Like Lisa here, I met her at the Citizens Advice and Law Centre. She really helped me. She's young, bright and educated, and could have gone on to earn a lot more money, but she chose to help folk. But her mum wasn't best pleased about her getting into this line of work, was she, Lisa?
Well, Mum had reservations, but she knows it's important work, if not well paid. She brought me up to want to help people, and that's why I'm doing legal aid. Legal aid was set up after the Second World War, along with the health service and free education, so that everyone in the country would be able to enjoy protection under the law. But like the NHS and schools, legal aid has been cut back and back. When legal aid was introduced, 48% of the population had access to it. Now it's a really small percentage, and the problem with benefit cases is the cost against the possible gains. It's a very expensive gamble to try and get your rights through law. I know that this work is really helping people. It makes a big difference to them if I can win a benefits case. It's the difference between that person managing and not. Listen to these people who have been helped at the law centre.
I was training for a new job in a hotel in 2017. When I was struck down with this incredible pain in my stomach.
She has gallbladder disease and has inflammation of the stomach. I see from her notes that she has fibromyalgia, which leads to terrible pain in the spine, neck and joints. Her ankles are painful and visibly swollen. I've also noticed she gets brain fog. She can't find words, and then she will suddenly fall asleep.
My body aches from top to toe. I feel as though I'm being beaten up or thrown from a horse or something. I feel about 90. I stood up in the assessment when they asked me to, and they reported that I could walk for 200 metres, and I wasn't even asked about any walking that I did. Even making myself a meal makes me feel ill for 2 or 3 hours afterwards. They awarded me 0 points. So I rang DWP, and when I got through they said, if Stephen Hawkins can work, so can you.
Christina was not fit to work. She was visibly in pain. I wrote that in my letter. In the past, a social worker would have helped her. That's another thing that's gone.
Despite that, I was told by the decision maker that I was fit to work. These assessments are a bit like Russian roulette. They rule your life.
I wash my clothes in this bucket because the old washing machine packed in, and I couldn't afford to replace it. I'll mend it. I have no oven, microwave or freezer, and I don't want to get into debt getting them.
Bessie is crippled with agoraphobia and has panic attacks. She also needs to eat a specialist diet to help her with her gastric problem, and has a specialist prescription for those meals.
My situation reminds me of a joke. Doctor gave me some tablets and said I should take them with food. But I couldn't take them because I had no food. But seriously, I felt better when I ate specialist meals, but they cut money to pay for prescription, and I'm too embarrassed to tell doctor. I haven't eaten anything for 2 days, because I have a benefits appeal coming up. And I need my last pounds for postage and to pay for medical certificate. I drink tea and water to stave off hunger. Do you know, last assessment was so distressing. The assessor were bombarding me with questions. I couldn't think properly. She made me cry. I don't understand why. I'm trying my best, but every time I get up, they seem to knock me back down again. Sorry to keep coming back, Doctor, but I'm just getting worse.
She was getting worse. It was a gastric problem and she had lost a lot of weight.
It's not just my stomach, Doctor. I can't sleep and then all I can do is sleep. If you know what I mean.
That didn't sound good. I explained I was going to refer her for some talking therapy and that she heard of cognitive behaviour therapy. It gets very good results, but there can be some delay before they see people. In the meantime, I wrote a prescription to take the edge off the symptoms.
4 months before I got appointment, you get passed from one person to another, different people, different services. I'm just getting desperate.
What can I do? I know that Bessie isn't sticking to that diet. She's showing signs of malnutrition. What can you do if people don't take your advice? I can't cure poverty, can I? And where I work, poverty is the problem. I think a national health service should be about helping people be healthy, not just prescribing pills to obliterate the misery in which we insist they live their lives.
Can't cope anymore. I sold my TV because I couldn't afford a licence. This is a list of my things that I'm going to sell. I want to be able to keep rings my mum give me. A jeweller said they weren't worth much, maybe 75 quid. But I'll have to sell them all. There's nothing to fall back on, is there? They've taken it all away.
Life goes by in a flash. You can hardly get a hold on it. My life's turned to trash. Well, hopes they only go in it with the same both you and me. Don't judge us when you see. But for the grace of God goes you. The hardship and the pain, the government's disdain. But for the grace of God goes you. The world still turns the same, but my world's got a hole in it. It's flowing down the drain, and I'm trying to get a hold on it with the same both you and me. Don't judge us when you see. But for the grace of God goes you. The hardship and the pain, the government's disdain. But for the grace of God goes you. With the same both you and me. Don't judge us when you see. But for the grace of God goes you.
You feel weak and powerless and alone when you're down. But you're not alone. There's some really good people, and with them you can find strength. It took time, but I got better. I went from being ashamed of having a mental illness to wanting to shout about it from the rooftops. The organisation that helped me most lost its grant. So with the support of St Catherine's Church, we agreed to keep the group growing, with us leading it.
That's right. People have much more power than they realised. We set up the group because we could see that even getting the post had become a real terror. Just the envelope landing on the mat had sparked panic attacks in some people. So we made opening the mail an event where people could be supported by opening their letters when they arrive.
Folks were frightened to open the post in case it was calling them for an assessment. I like to wear these socks. It lightens the mood. Have you seen them? It says cheesed off. I wanted something stronger. Do you know what I mean? But Chris wouldn't let me get them. Said it went too far. I'm always trying to do something to get a laugh.
0 points. 0 points. How can that be right? I've been assessed as having 23 points. I've got a letter from a judge saying I've got 23 points. How can some bloke in a white BMW tell me I've got 0 points? Granted, I've heard everybody who's assessed at Castleford's giving 0 points. I mean, that can't be right, can it? That cannot be right. Anyway, he says you've got 0 points and stops me benefits straight away. So, of course, I get behind with my rent and my gas and my electricity, and, of course, it really stresses me out. Considerably stresses me out. So I have to go back to the doctors. I go back to the doctors, and, of course, it's another doctor, another new face you've to tell your life story to. Anyway, when he heard what had gone on with me, his little face fell. You've been treated like shit, he said. You've been treated like shit. It's no wonder everybody in this country's on antidepressants and that. Little foreign fella he was. I've never seen him before, but he wrote me a note. He wrote me a sick note. He wrote on it, look, severe stress and anxiety. Severe stress and anxiety. And that's just what his predecessor had said. And she were a lovely little lass. She were an expert in these matters. She'd got a further degree in this kind of stuff. How can a bloke who's got no but a white BMW tell me I've got 0 points? I mean, I had to appeal, and this time, second appeal, I got support from Kirklees Citizens Advice and Law Centre, and they really know the stuff. So the judge wrote me a letter. He wrote me a letter saying 23 points. That's what I've got. So anyway, when I got this letter this morning, I thought, hey up, what's this? What they're trying on again, eh? Eh? Are they going to teach Ted a lesson for winning his appeal?
Morning, Ted.
Oh, morning.
Is this your letter?
Yeah, I thought, what's this? It arrived this morning, like, I'm thinking, what they're writing for me now? Is it like, we'll learn him, we'll serve him right for winning his appeal?
Let me take a look for you.
Hi, Tony, have you seen this?
What is it?
Well, I don't know. I went to doctors. Doctor don't know either. He's proper flummoxed. But look,
Good Lord.
feel that.
It's rock
It's
hard.
hard like a rock,
Like
innit?
a rugby ball.
Doctor thinks it might be stress, something like that. This is what it does to you. This is what it does to you, this.
This letter's nothing to worry about. It's just to say that they've received communication from the law centre for a paper assessment, and they'll let you know in due course when a decision's being made.
Has anybody else got a letter they want to share with this happy circle?
I've got one here. I haven't opened it yet because I've got a really bad feeling about it.
Do you want me to take a look?
Would you?
Yeah. bad news, isn't it? Well, it does say that you've been called into Castleford for an assessment. It says that someone's reported you and they need to investigate your claim.
Oh, who'd say that? I can barely manage now. I can't face it. I can't face it all again. Oh, it's going to kill me.
Look what they're doing to this poor lass. I cannot stand bullies. Look what they're doing to this poor lass. They want somebody to go down there and sort them out.
Don't panic, don't worry. I'll help you. I'll help you fill in the forms and I'll come to the assessment with you.
Oh, it's kind of you, but don't worry. I really don't think I can face it. I can't do it. Oh God, what am I going to do?
They want somebody to go down there and sort them out. I know some blokes from old days. We could go down there, we could sort them out old school style. You know what I mean, Tony? We could sort them out old school style. I can't stand bullies. I had enough of that with my stepfather.
Oh, so sorry.
Be calm and breathe. Don't panic. Remember the breathing exercise, in through the nose and out through the mouth.
She shouldn't have to go through this again. She shouldn't have to go in. They're not even doctors. I hope you don't get laughing, boy, who I got. But I tell you something. You mustn't give up. They all plan on ideas that they pick us off one by one. But if we all work together, we can beat them. I mean, look at me. Even I won. I'll tell you what, Tony and Chrissy and them at Kirklees Law Centre, they'll all help you. I mean, I don't help you me send, but I'm bloody raged. I mean, but look, you've got to keep your paper. Keep all your papers, all the letters, all sick notes and messages that they sent to you, all of them. You've got to keep them. Whole thing is designed to make you give up. It's engineered that way, so you mustn't give up.
That's right. They made me give in. But never again. I regret giving in more than anything. That's why we're here. That's why we meet. So we can help. Don't give up.
She did give in. She just ran out of energy. But I'm not surprised. Those assessors, they're not human.
Indeed, I live in the dark ages. A smooth forehead betokens a hard heart. He who laughs has not yet heard the terrible tidings. Ah, what an age it is, when to speak of trees is almost a crime, for it's a kind of silence against injustice. And he who walks calmly across the street, is he not out of reach of his friends in trouble? I will gladly be wise. The old books tell us what wisdom is. Avoid the strife of the world. Live out your little time, fearing no one, using no violence, returning good for evil. Not fulfillment of desire, but forgetfulness passes for wisdom. I can do none of this. Indeed, we live in the dark ages.
The worst assessment I represented anyone at was a chap with cancer.
Can't believe they refused you.
I suppose that's the system, isn't it? But thanks for helping anyway.
He had been given a terminal diagnosis, so that he knew that this was one of his last days on earth.
Hey, what would I have done otherwise? I had no plans.
I had no plans, and plenty of time. He had very little time, and he was forced to face this, and worrying how his wife would pay the rent on his last days on earth. People can't afford to have pride under this system, can they? The whole thing is demeaning. They used to call it social security, but now it's like they don't want anyone to be secure ever.
Stephen's here, yeah. Your assessor's waiting for you is in room 118. That's through this door on your right, on the second floor. Turn to your right, and it's the last door on your left.
Is there a lift?
Lift? Why?
Because he's in a wheelchair.
Oh, that don't matter. You can leave that there, and I'll keep an eye on it, don't worry.
Is this a Little Britain sketch? He's not able to walk.
Truly?
Truly.
You can never be sure with these people. Some people that come in here, you can never be sure.
Darren Brown, from the assessment.
Oh, do you think you could take a seat, please? Just thank you. No, if you move that chair back to where it was and then sit on it, I'd be grateful. Thank you. Social distancing. Darren Brown?
Yep, that's me.
Well, you got here nice and early. Did you find it an easy journey?
It had been easy because he was brought across by a neighbour who was going into Castleford shopping and had walked him to the assessment centre.
Your assessor's here, Darren. Yes, Darren made his way across from Wakefield, he says. Yeah, he got here in plenty of time. Yeah. And just take a look at how smart he is. What does it cost for a bar of soap these days? I bet that's the shortest assessment ever. In a small room with no windows.
The assessors don't investigate. The benefit relies on people being able to report their condition with insight. Knowing what the assessor is looking for, you need to know how to give the right answer to get the assessor to tick the right box on the form. This guy suffers with a spectrum disorder and anxiety and depression coupled with his learning disabilities. You can see that they're not assessing his needs. They are doing something quite different.
Oh, hello, Darren. Did you get here quite easily today?
Oh, yes, yes.
Interesting perfume. Can you walk 50 metres? Or maybe 100 metres? 200 metres?
Oh, walk. Yeah, I can walk 100 metres. I can walk 200 metres. I can run, me. I can run. I like running.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you?
That won't be necessary, Darren. No, it won't be necessary. Now, can you cook a meal?
Oh, yeah, I can cook. I like cooking, me. I'm a good cook. I like to have my friends round and cooking. I like cooking, yeah.
By this, Darren means that he can open a tin of beans. Left to himself, he wouldn't even warm the beans up. I'm not being horrible, but he has no friends.
And, how are you today?
How am I? I'm well. I'm very, very well. Funny weather we've been having, isn't it? Isn't it funny? Do you like best summer or winter? I like summer better than winter, me. I like summer. I goes on my summer holidays. Do you like weather?
Do you have any trouble getting to new places safely?
No, new places, travelling, new places, that's me. I like travelling, I like new places, new people, new friends. Do you like to travel? I like to travel.
Darren's report said he was confident to travel and to talk about himself and his interests. He presented well and was awarded 0 points on his assessment. His benefits were immediately stopped.
Do you think that they like me? I got there nice and early, I even had a wash. Do you think that they like me? I just need a bit of help, a little bit of dosh. Well, he seemed like a nice man. He asked if I could walk, I said that I can run. Well, he seemed like a nice man. He could be me friend, I bet he's a lot of fun. Do you think that they like me? I got there nice and early, I even had a wash. Do you think that they like me? I just need a bit of help, a little bit of dosh. Then they asked me about me travelling. I told them that I'd been around, I'm seasoned, that's a fact. Can you cook? I said, you're joking. It's like a pop-up cafe with me mates around me flat. Do you think that they like me? I got there nice and early, I even had a wash. Do you think that they like me? I just need a bit of help, a little bit of dosh. I just need a bit of help, a little bit of dosh.
Well, it's easy to make the assessor the villain of the piece, but is it fair? I mean, would you do anything different if you were told what to do? I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, I don't want to live on benefits. Have you heard the joke about the whistleblower? What do you call a whistleblower at the DWP? Unemployed. It's a system. Well, I wish it was fairer, but it's not. And I'll tell you in confidence that we're told we have to fail at least 50% of the people who come in for an assessment, or we will be in trouble. And if I didn't do it, somebody else would. You know that no one has employment rights until they've been in a job for 2 years. You know that most of these jobs are temporary. If I went to the press with some of this, I would be bringing the company to disrepute and dismissed. And do you think the papers would print it? It happens all over in business, in schools, in hospitals. Tell the truth, see where it gets you. I've known people be dismissed for making comments about work on a private WhatsApp group. You can't trust anybody. Someone snitches on you and you're gone. Anyway, it's not down to me. I just do the assessments. I pass it on to a decision maker and they make the decision. I'm just a focus for people's frustrations.
I'm a decision maker. Well, someone has to make the decision. It's important I'm detached from the claimant because these people get very emotional. They know how to pull at folks' heartstrings, don't they? The cripples, the mentally ill. And they can get quite violent. Believe me, it's not like children in need or comic relief. This system means it's not personal. It's about us delivering on the targets that were written into the contract.
Speaking as a Conservative politician, I can assure you that it is absolutely ridiculous to suggest that we hate disabled people. There are, however, tough choices to be made. The electorate want us to make these tough choices. Don't forget that the Labour Party wanted to stop privatisation. The people didn't want that. The people know that we have their best interests at heart. We use private companies because we believe in the market. Assessments do need to be challenging. Anything less and you're killing people with kindness. If you were to say that this was tough love, then perhaps it is. In which case, it works. Remember, our Prime Minister Boris Johnson has a strong, fresh mandate from the people. This was delivered with the resounding victory in the recent general election.
Tim Slater, blind. Depressed, agoraphobic, had his benefits removed and he got into debt. He committed suicide before eviction.
The coroner found that a major factor in his death was that his benefits had been greatly reduced, leaving him almost destitute.
David Clapson, former Lance Corporal, left his last job to look after his mum. When she died, he had to claim benefits. He missed 2 appointments and had his money suspended. A diabetic, he had no food and couldn't afford the electricity to keep his medication refrigerated.
He died with 6 tea bags in his house, an out-of-date tin of sardines and a can of tomato soup. There was a pile of CVs lying by his body. He died with no food in his stomach.
Amy Driver, diabetic, suffered from sight loss and extreme fatigue. She missed the job centre appointment because she had to go to hospital. She was sanctioned for 4 weeks.
Amy fell into a diabetic coma and died. She was 27 years old.
My husband Tony and I are invited to address conferences. So to recap, we meet with a wide range of people who have a wide range of needs. We meet twice a week. It's an open-ended commitment, so they're not getting passed from pillar to post. It's immediate, so they're not having to wait months to see anybody. And they all have our mobiles, so they can contact us 24/7. 365 days a year. We used to be called service users. We're now called experts by experience. And most of the time I get asked to take Zoom calls for it.
Oh, hello. Thanks for taking my call. My name is Professor Eastbrook. I read one of my papers at the conference at the weekend, you may remember. Well, I heard you speak at the conference, but unfortunately I was called away before your question and answer session. And as we're in the same line of work, so to speak, I was wondering if you could clear up a few points for me. I was interested in what you said in your speech, experts by experience. Now, with respect, you describe yourselves as experts, and yet you have no qualifications.
I have expertise because of what has happened to my husband and what we've done to try and make him better. That title was made up by someone else.
Well, be that as it may, I am an expert. University degree, second degree, medical qualifications, further study. I have authored many books and papers, and I am regularly invited to speak at conferences such as this. Don't you think that you, playing around in this area, is a rather dangerous game?
What do you mean?
Well, you are amateurs, and you're taking work away from professional people. You're just helping the government cut spending on vulnerable people. I mean, what do you get paid?
We don't get paid. We're retired. We do this because it needs doing, and because when Tony was poorly, there wasn't any services provided by you experts that did him any good at all. We just want to help people, and we do help people.
Well, whether you help or not is debatable. Surely you can see that if the government thinks that you will do the work for nothing, well, they aren't going to pay someone to do it, are they?
I'm an ordinary mum, an ordinary wife, a grandma, A florist, as a matter of fact. But I'll tell you what, I've got lifetime experience and life skills, and they don't come better than that.
But you are running groups made up of all kinds of people with a wide range of needs. This is not how it's done.
Yes, they are all different, and I'll tell you why the group works. It works because each one of those people are treated as people, with different needs and wants. I don't treat them all out of the same medical textbook, and they're not all treated out of the same bottle of tablets. Every one of the people have different characters and different coping mechanisms. I find out how they like to be spoken to and how they cope, and that's how I learn. I was just so angry, I just had to hang up on him.
The people you heard from are all real people. The cases are real cases, and the cases are going on now.
I really didn't want the stories to be true, but it's made me realise I've been conditioned into thinking, but what about those who are cheating?
The system is cruel and unfair, and I don't know the cheating billionaire tax dodgers, so it's much easier to focus on the people we see and know every day.
I just don't think the political classes see, understand or care about people who find themselves in difficulties like these. It's like they live in a different world. Is it cruelty or just ignorance?
It seems that the system is successful, but it does not save money and it does not help people get back into work. It does make us hate the people we should love and love the people we should hate.
The system is a nightmare. A nightmare when you're feeling good, but when you're feeling down, it really is a nightmare. It starts with the forms, 25 pages of nightmare. And then the assessments, where they go into massive detail about your personal and private details.
The real point of the assessments is not to meet people's needs. If you are eventually awarded the money, it can be called back in within days to have it taken away. Such are the delays in the system and the appeals procedure.
We've had grown men crying, just crying.
I've seen people come back from these assessments completely traumatised, absolutely in bits and pieces, and for weeks afterwards.
That's true, and it's so sad.
They pay doctors thousands of pounds to become experts in diagnosing and treating various illnesses and disabilities. Yet they don't trust these doctors to tell the truth. A doctor has no clout at all. The amount of fraud is minuscule, compared to tax evasion, for example. Look at that for Sir Philip Green. He boasted that his cleaner paid more tax than he did, and Cameron made him a business advisor.
Power wants us to feel powerless. We need to remember that when most people hear these stories, they'll be angry and want to change things.
It's already happening in India, Australia, America, and increasingly here. The computer says no, and you can't argue with computer software.
It's like I said at the beginning, this whole system is engineered to break people like me, to keep them at the bottom. Not because they hate me particularly, because it's a warning to you. Take any job, work whatever hours, because if you don't, this is what's waiting for you. I mean, they said they'd introduced the system because they couldn't afford to do otherwise. But it's nothing to do with money. Look at the money they've had for this coronavirus. Look at that. £100 billion just like that out of fresh air. They did 1,000 billion to get the bankers out of trouble, and yet they're putting me and lots of other poor bastards through all this. They've got people looking in the wrong direction. They've got us all looking down instead of looking up. They've got us loving the people we should hate and hating the people we should love. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. I'm like a prophet. I see so clearly what's going on. But when I tell people, they don't hear me because they think I'm thick. They look at me and they laugh. A teddy boy with no quiff because my teeth are cracked with grinding and with woody. No. It's not me who's thick. I might not be able to write very well or spell too well, but I can see what's going on. I sometimes think that I'm the only one who can see things clearly. You see, this whole situation is engineered to break people like me. But they won't. They won't break me. They won't make me give up.
It did break Ted. Ted did die. Die alone and angry in a cold flat. And on the mat next to the latest Aldi special booze offers for beer he can't drink. And a takeaway menu for meals he can't digest. Will be a letter saying that his appeal has been successful. 15,000 people have died waiting for payments due to them since 2013.
I said to an assessor in Castleford, I said, we support people with mental health needs. We help them fill in forms. We come to assessments to support them. We bring reports. What more do the government want? We're trying to get them back on track, to raise them into a world of normality. Yet you keep pushing them back. Trying to get them back into society, to give them a bit of a chance. What chance have they got while you are constantly pushing them back?
My brothers and sisters, stand up and be counted. Let that spark in your soul light a flame in the world. And that flame will burn with 1,000 fires of freedom. And all that it takes are words, only words. Freedom from hatred and freedom from tears. Freedom from oppression and freedom from fears. We won't grow tired, we won't grow old, as long as we keep that spark in our souls. My brothers and sisters, stand up and be counted. Let that spark in your soul light a flame in the world, and that flame will burn with 1,000 fires of freedom. And all that it takes are words, only words. Let's talk about injustice, let's talk about the poor, let's talk about the pain some people must endure. And when the doubters shake their heads saying there's nothing we can do, if we stand side by side, we are many, they are few. My brothers and sisters, stand up and be counted. Let that spark in your soul light a flame in the world, and that flame will burn with 1,000 fires of freedom. And all that it takes, words, only words. It's time to raise our voices. The time is unsurpassed, because we're stealing from the future, but we're living in the past. And from unborn generations, will we hear the call that when we had the answers in our grasp, we did nothing, nothing at all. My brothers and sisters, stand up and be counted. Let that spark in your soul light a flame in the world, and that flame will burn with 1,000 fires of freedom. And all that it takes are words, only words. My brothers and sisters, stand up and be counted. Let that spark in your soul light a flame in the world, and that flame will burn with 1,000 fires of freedom. And all that it takes are words, only words. And all that it takes are words, only words. And all that it takes are words, only words.